This is Faris from ASKFaris, and I'm so excited about our guest today. As you can see, we are our own location at an undisclosed location right now, but I'm so excited actually about interviewing one of the entrepreneurs I actually been following a lot on Facebook, and her name is Kimberly Barrow, and she is the owner, the sole proprietor of Kimberly Cares, which is located in Houston, Texas, right?
Houston, Texas. That's right.
Houston, Texas. So first of all, I would like to welcome you to the show. And then, Kimberly, I want you to be able to tell our audience just a little bit about yourself, some of your hobbies. Then we'll jump into the meat of the conversation.
Okay, awesome. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Barrow. I'm 32. I live currently in Houston, Texas. I'm a nurse practitioner, as Faris said, just opened to own my own practice. And I'm pretty normal, down to earth. I mean, some of the stuff I like to do, outdoors type person, so summer's coming up. So we're excited about, water parks and tubing down the river and that kind of stuff, all the festivals and, concerts, etc. So those are some of the things that I like to do.
Nice. But Kimberly, one thing that I really saw was when I first saw one of your videos and first got a chance to read your profile and everything, I saw an entrepreneur. So I just want to kind of go through, when did you kind of go on this entrepreneurial journey? Have you always had it in you, or was it something that came about with circumstances and trials or whatever? How did you get on this journey?
Well, so I've always wanted to be a nurse practitioner. And with that, I know you're a little bit more autonomous as a provider, kind of transition from that role as an RN taking orders to kind of a provider that's able to give some direction and kind of be a little bit more a part of the person who has decision-making ability, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed that there was a need essentially in our community for providers that care. I worked in other institutions where I felt as though people were not getting the care that they need, that they deserved. And so I felt that I, as a provider, could open my own and do the same thing that they were doing, just in my own space. Because essentially, the clinic that I worked at, the model, there was one provider, one medical assistant. That was basically it. There weren't a whole lot of staff and folks involved. And so that gave me my idea that it was really a lot easier and I could do it a lot sooner.
So, and I'm going to pause you right there, because I think so many times people, when they first get out of college or get their jobs, they look at it as just a job. But it looks like you looked at your job as a learning experience to go through and solve an even greater need. So kind of talk to that point, because that's what it appears right there. You saw the need, you saw an area where you could go through and put your special touch to improve it, and you worked upon that. So kind of talk to that point, because I think that's actually really keen. And I don't know if you agree with that, but a lot of times people get on jobs and this is not right, or this is not right, but they don't take it that next step. So sometimes that's a position to go through and push you forward. So was that something how you viewed it as well?
Absolutely. And as I said, being part of corporate America, and some of the major organizations, people will kind of, they assume that you're just there to work for them. Yes. And in my instance, I was there to learn, as you mentioned. I was there to learn. I mean, I'm here to get all the little nuggets I can get, and then I can take those nuggets and then apply those, to our community. And like I said, I feel like people just get overlooked, and not just the patients, but also as an employee, so to speak. They overlook you. They use you. They use your ability, your talent. And then, if you don't fall in line with whatever it is that they want you to do, they kind of just toss you off to the side. And so I felt like it was a little bit of both. It was, there is a need, and then also that you're not really valued as an employee in a lot of these major, organizations. And so I was like, well, I'm here to learn. And so, I did my best, with what I was given there. But really, I just wanted to branch off and be able to extend those services to folks who really need it.
Exactly. And now we're going to take a step back, because I know to become a nurse practitioner, you have to go through your schools, et cetera, have to get the RN degree, et cetera. So kind of walk us through that path. Like, I know a lot of times people, they give up along the path. And I think that circumstances and situations come to go through and see if we're going to persevere. And I think that, so kind of walk us through that path. Was it all easy? Was it just like, I went through school. It was just so simple. Hey, I got this thing in 6 years and I was out the door. I worked for a couple of years and I started my practice and everything's golden. So, but if it was like that, please dispel it.
No, that is definitely amiss to be dispelled. There is no such thing as easy, especially in the realm of healthcare. And all my nursing students and, aspiring nurses, nurse practitioners know it gets real.
Mm-hmm.
I went to undergrad with all intentions of graduating from Florida State University. I went from when I was 18 to Florida State, and I was like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna be a Seminole, I'm gonna graduate, and it's gonna be good. But that's not what happened.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I went there and my grades were excellent. I was on the dean's list, all that kind of stuff, but I still didn't get into the program. So I had to take an alternate route. So here I am 2 years at a major university, it's prestigious, everybody knows the school, and then I'm having to make a decision. 2 years, I finished all my prereqs, it's time to apply. Do I sit here and wait on the waiting list, or do I humble myself and go to the community college because that's where I was accepted?
Pause right there. Pause right there. You said a key word: humble, humility. And I think so many times people, we get titles, we get prestige, we look at our background, where we come from. We say, you know what? Hey, I can't go through and take another route, because some people may look at community college. Well, why should I go to community college? Because I'm about to be a Seminole. I'm about to be a Bulldog for UGA, whatever it is. So you took the road less traveled. You said, you know what? You knew where you were going. You're looking at the bigger picture. And I think so many times people look at the front end and say, oh, well, this is what I want, but they don't look at the back end. So I just commend you for taking that humble route. And what would you tell a person who's kind of, who just, especially some nurses, I've worked in the industry as well. What would you suggest for a nurse that did not get into that nursing program that she dreamed about, but what would you tell that person right now as well?
I would tell them, just keep fighting a good fight. I mean, there are schools everywhere. I didn't even know that community college offered RN programs, or I may have chosen that initially just to save money, because it gets expensive on the university level. So I would say just keep your mind open to all possibilities. Don't limit yourself. People get stuck in, all my friends went here, all my family went here, everybody I know graduated from here, so I want to go here. But sometimes that's not your path, that's not your route. I would just say keep an open mind and go where they accept you.
Exactly. So you went to the community college and got your RN degree. And so what was what pushed you to become a nurse practitioner? Like, was it your passion to go through and serve the community? Was it other opportunities that was presented itself? Or what have it always been in you to go through and pursue the practitioner part?
Initially I wanted to be an OB-GYN.
Okay.
And so I was like, I want to go to medical school. I want to be an OB. I'm going to deliver babies. And then I went, as I, did a little bit more research, I really opted out of the physician route, just in that I felt like it takes a lot longer for you to really achieve that level of success. It's more expensive and so forth. And so nurse practitioner role has always been attractive to me, in that not only can you can do kind of both. And I always wanted to have a family. And I just feel like if you're going to be a really stellar physician, top notch, then their families oftentimes, get caught in, essentially they don't have enough time to spend with their family. You can't do both. You can't be a really stellar, awesome physician, dedicate your life to medicine, and, have enough time for family.
Yes.
So I felt like the nursing route was more flexible. It would allow me to do a little bit of both.
Wow. And those are the things that people, I know I talk to a lot of young people, and especially when this is graduation season, and so many people, they're trying to find their direction. And I remember when I first started college, I probably switched my degrees so many times because I didn't know which path I was going to go on. And so my next question for you is, did you have a mentor that actually guided you along the way, or did you find a mentor along the way to go through and help you stay on that straight and narrow, or did you have any guidance along the way?
Well, I didn't have a mentor per se. I mean, my biggest supporter has been my mom the whole time. I pretty much already knew I was going to go to nursing school. Like since I was 12, I'm like, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse practitioner. That's what I'm going to do. But along the way, I didn't really have anyone that, did nursing per se. I had a lot of family members, distant relatives and stuff that did caretaking. They were like, care providers in various ways.
Yes.
But no one actually, fought the good fight of nursing school. So that was pretty much all me. But it's in terms of support and, having someone to be like, you need to do this, like make sure you stay focused. You need to do that. Make sure all your stuff is in order, prioritize. That was my mom. Like even when I was like crying, sobbing on the phone, like I'm stressed out, it's finals, I have no money, I'm an undergraduate.
Yes.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just focus, just do what you can do the best you can. And she was always right there, cheering me on.
Wow. And that's one thing I want my listeners to understand, that your support system is so key. And supporters are not people that always have been down the path that you're on. So it's not trying to go through and find that OB or that practitioner or whatever career you're in. It's having a strong support system, because some of us have the will to move forward, but along the way, it gets discouraging, and we just need that extra support. So some people, may be a grandmother, maybe a mentor, maybe a mom or father, a preacher, whoever it is. But I think it's so important to go through and have that support system. So what I want to do, we're going to take a quick break, but then when we come back, I want us to go through and kind of delve down a little bit deeper into going from a practitioner to becoming an entrepreneur, a business owner, because in every part of actually anything is a business part of it. And I know that's wearing a different hat right there. So we're going to take a quick 1-minute break. And then once we come back, we're going to delve really deep into the entrepreneurial side. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Again, I am with Kimberly Barrow from Kimberly Cares out in Houston, Texas. She is a nurse practitioner that has her own practice, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. So we're going to go through and further the conversation. And so now we're going to jump right into entrepreneurship. And I know we both have passions to go through and see people go through and start businesses. So regardless if it's practitioner or marketing or whatever a person does, but to go through and follow your passion. So Kimberly, how did you, okay, I guess I asked this question. What is one piece of advice that you would give a person who's actually thinking about starting an entrepreneurial journey? Like, so how would you, what's one piece of advice that you'll give to them?
So one piece of advice I would give for anyone who wants to start their own business, whatever idea it may be, is that you just be very selective in whom you share that information with. Mm-hmm. Just because a lot of times people, if they don't understand your vision, or if they themselves can't see themselves in that light, a lot of people are really negative. They tend to be very discouraging. And so I would say just be mindful of who you share your information with. Make sure it's someone that will give you an objective opinion. I mean, if it sounds crazy and you know this person's going to tell you, hey, I don't know about that, and it's the truth, then you trust their judgment, then go right on ahead. But I would say just be very mindful and selective with whom you share that piece of information with.
And one thing I want to piggyback off that, especially with the selection process, it's just like if for some reason I wanted to go through and ask, let's say if I had a sore on my left side, I can go through and ask my buddy who may or may not know anything, or I can go through and ask a nurse practitioner. So the selected advice of someone who has been down the road that you've been on, I think that's going to be key as well, because anybody can tell you it's going to be hard to start a business, but if they haven't really started a business, why would you go through and actually seek that advice? So I think definitely going through and being selective on that as well, but also on your entrepreneurial journey. So tell me about it. So has it been easy, like through the process of you starting your business? Was it just bam, 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 you put the applications and it was good to go, you got your lease and everything? Did everything just fall into place so quick? Or did you have to go through and put some work behind starting your business?
Oh, it's absolutely. There's a lot of work required, and it's not seamless now.
Exactly.
It's definitely been a struggle, to say the least. I mean, it's just been a learning curve, you know. This is my very first practice, my very first business venture. And so there was a lot of learning. I know the healthcare aspect, but the business side of it is a little bit different, you know. So I went through my fair share of, rejections and denials from the insurance companies for one reason or another. I think I redid my Medicaid application like 10 or 12 times. Oh, yeah. Every time I sent it back, they sent it back to me. There was one more piece and one more piece. So it's definitely been a challenge. And even still today, there's more challenges. Every day is something new. Mm-hmm. Just think you got it all covered and you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. Here comes something else that you didn't anticipate.
Exactly. So that's one thing, as an entrepreneur, you learn not to lock your legs so much. Like I was in the military and they tell us, don't lock your legs or you'll pass out. So that's one thing as entrepreneurs, we can't lock our legs because it's always going to be something, no matter if you've been in business for 2 years, 2 months, 10 years or whatever, it's always changes. And I think the one that actually lasts the longest is the one that says, first of all, I'm not going to give up. Second of all, they have a big why. They know why they're doing it. If it's to go through and service their community, if it's to go through and provide a better outlook for their family, their why is bigger than their current situation. So that's one thing I really love as well, is definitely going through and actually knowing your why as well. And one thing I know I have quite a few practitioners who are following the ASKFaris brand. What advice would you give to them, especially ones that are thinking about actually starting their own practice, who school. I'm sorry, I'm outside. I have a little flyby. But anyhow, ones that's actually thinking about starting their own practice, ones that have kind of thought about the idea, what advice would you give to them?
I would just tell them to keep it in perspective. You know, a lot of people get hung up in, you know, comfort and complacency with having that consistent 2-week, you know, check and so forth. But I would just tell them, because a lot of people they're like, oh, I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be doing it all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You're just doing it in someone else's space. I mean, as providers, we're independently licensed. We're responsible for our own actions. If you make a wrong decision over there or you make a wrong decision over here in your own space, it's all the same. You know, people get hung up in liability and thinking that there's some, you know, other more extravagant liability than there is. No, that's not true. I mean, that's a false sense of comfort. If you do it in that space over here, you can do it in your own space over here. It's the same.
Well, and you said another key word, that false sense of comfort. And I think we've been like, I think this generation has really changed, because back when I'm 34 as well, so we're in our 30s, so millennials per se. But I think in our parents' generations, it was like the industrial age, where blue collar, where people were getting jobs and had the pension plan and everything. But pension plans are gone. Like there's a false sense of security where jobs going to be here for 25 years and everything, 25, 30 years. But that sense of security is gone. And so I think that's why we stress entrepreneurship so much, because we know the end game. We know that the ones that actually wins are the ones that actually can hold that basket full of eggs. And then it's so incumbent upon us, for if you spent any time in college, if you spent any time investing in any type of skill, it's important to go through and actually see that thing through. So I just want to go through and encourage other entrepreneurs to go through and follow that path. And I think you've done a phenomenal job thus far. And the beautiful part of it, Kim, is you're just getting started. That's the thing right there. It's like, hold up, you've achieved this right here, and you're just getting started. And I always look back and say, you know what? I look back a year, I'm like, what was I doing last year? Because I didn't know anything about anything. Then I looked for today, I'm like, I'm a little bit better than I am last year. It's going to only get better. It's going to only get better as well.
Yeah.
What advice, and this will be one of my final questions, what advice would you give to that young, again, we have young high school graduates, individuals that are graduating from high school this week, next week, or whatever. What advice would you give to that young high school graduate who's trying to go through, and they may have gotten accepted in a couple colleges, and some of them may be trying to find themselves, some of them they may not know what they want to do, but what advice would you give to that young high school graduate?
Essentially for all my young people and the high school graduates, because it's so exciting, you know, you're graduating high school, you're going off to college, you know, it's a big deal. Yeah. So it's a transition, you know, it's one of those life transitions. You know, I would say to the young high school students, you know, don't get caught up in the, you know, I'm going to college and I'm going to get my 4-year degree, you know, hype. I mean, make it be about more than that. I mean, because you're there to learn essentially and, you know, further your education. But really, to me, it's about connections, you know, making those connections with the people on your campuses, mentees, mentors, etc. And then also making sure that you have a purpose. You know, make sure that you stay focused on your purpose and the why behind why you're in college, or, you know, wherever, whether it's, you know, a 2-year college, 4-year college, doesn't really matter. Just stay focused and understand your purpose. And that will guide you a lot of times in where you need to be and what you need to be doing. Because a lot of people are just here going to school like, yeah, I'm in college. I'm in liberal studies, you know, hanging out, you know, at every party or whatever have you, but they lose focus and they don't understand what their purpose is. But if you're focused, if you have a goal, if you have a purpose in mind for yourself or a passion of any sort, then I think if you stay focused on that, then you'll be fine. You'll be successful.
Beautiful words for the young graduate. And I follow an entrepreneur. His name is John Lee Dumas. I don't know if you've actually followed him. He has a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And I would recommend that to anybody who's listening to this as well. But he has broken down the word focus into an acronym. Focus stands for follow one course until success. Follow one course until success. And I think so many times we go through and try to do everything. But if we stay focused on one course and master that course, we will see true success in that. And that's one thing I definitely want to go to encourage everybody. But Kimberly, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know as a practitioner, you're here, there, and everywhere, but I just want to say thank you so much. But I do want our audience to go through and connect with you as well. So what are some ways that they can connect with you?
So we're big on social media, mainly Facebook, because I like Facebook better. I feel like it's more interactive. We're on Instagram too, and we have that platform, but Facebook is really our main need. They can contact me on there. And normally, I've given my phone number to a number of.
Well, we're not going to do that right now.
I'm not going to do that, but I'm just saying, we're open book. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Perfect. And also, what's your website for people to go through and follow you on your website?
So our website is www.kcaresmore.com.
Got it. And I will definitely include the links into our show notes as well. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for actually being a part of the AskFaris show. And I hope that this message have encouraged another young person along the way to go through and follow their entrepreneurial journey. So again, this is Faris from AskFaris signing off. Thank you so much, Kim, and we'll chat with you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.